Newnan time with Harold. Harold here. Jesus, I forgot I'm connected to the Alexa. Alexa, disconnect from Linroyd's phone. Not the best start ever. But I think we got it. If you guys can't hear me, let me know. But otherwise, we should be good. Newnan time with Harold. Harold here. Local news. And I've never met up until, 15 minutes ago?
Yeah, something like that.
20 minutes ago when this guy walked into my house. This is, what is your name?
John Griffin.
John Griffin. He's using his full name. He has got no fear. No fear Shakespeare. And we got him here today because a while ago I posted on the internet and I said, hey guys, hey world, I want to talk to somebody about the data centers. Is there somebody who can do it? And regardless of all the reach that I have reached out to reach in the last couple of years, people still don't really want to do a lot with me. It's actually sometimes kind of difficult to get people to sit down and do videos with me. Not today. Today, this guy, this man decided, hey, I'll come and talk to you about data centers. So if you're somebody out there who has a lot of opinions on data centers or anything in Newnan, hit me up. You can find me Newnan Time with Harold Facebook page, Harold Lee's Facebook page, NewnanTimeWithHarold@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram. You can go to my website, NewnanTimeWithHarold.com. You can find our podcast, Newnan Podcast with Harold. You can find our YouTube, Newnan Time with Harold. I think we have a store on Zazzle. You can go to Zazzle.com/Newnan Time with Harold. So we got a whole bunch of stuff. But my whole point, the point of Harold is to connect the community in a way that's not boring. And that's what we're going to do here today. Now, what I have heard about you thus far, Mr. JG, what do we call you? What's your nickname? What's your nickname when you were a kid? Spud?
So, my nickname's actually Woot. It's a CKY reference. I don't know if you're old enough to remember CKY.
Aren't you like 1 year older than me? 2?
No, I mean, I turn 38 next week.
Oh, we're the same age. We're both 37.
Okay. So you might not know CKY, but you remember the show Jackass?
Yes.
So CKY was the precursor to Jackass.
Make sure you come closer to me so you're in both
We
shots.
can cuddle.
We're filming on 2 places. We're filming on my personal page and on the other page just to try out 2 different cameras. So your nickname was Woot. Mm-hmm. Why? What does that mean?
So there's a character on CKY named Rake Yon, and Brandon Deco always did a impersonation of him, like, and it basically sounds just like that. And he's like, "I got something for you, whoop doop doo." And since I did the voice so well, it stuck, and everyone called me Whoop.
None of this means anything to me. I was homeschooled when I was a kid, so I watched VeggieTales and Rugrats and Hey Arnold.
Yeah, I watched that too.
So if your nickname was Football Head, I would have been like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Thank God it's not.
Right, yeah, thank God it's not. Your head is not shaped like a football whatsoever. But you are considered, based on the little bit of feedback I've gotten, a controversial person.
Yeah.
And as someone who in my past has also been a controversial person, why? Why are you a controversial person?
I really think it's just because I'm outspoken. I don't really hold back. I say, what I think and what I feel. I'm not really afraid to speak my mind. And, especially out here in Coweta County.
But isn't that every, aunt? Aren't you just an uncle or aunt then on Facebook? Isn't that what they all do? And they all say they speak. I guess the difference between them and maybe you is, are you intelligent about it or are you dumb?
No, I wouldn't say
that's
that
our first
dumb.
question for Woot.
No,
are you actually dumb?
I wouldn't say that I'm dumb by no means. There's a certain tact that you have to have in the modern climate, right? If you're just, operating within the bounds and you kind of walk on eggshells around a topic, you don't really get a lot of attention on that topic. So I tend to try to frame things and say things in, I guess, a dramatic manner that really grabs people's attention. So, if we're talking about a subject, say there's a water leak coming in the door. Not really. I'm saying for example.
Okay.
So I'm saying there's a water leak coming in the door. You say hey honey, I think we have a water leak. And it's like, okay, honey. Honey, the back door's flooding. That's going to get her attention way quicker than there's a leak at the back door. Does that make sense?
So you lie.
No. It's just
Exaggerate.
It's not a little bit. So if you say things in the most sensational way possible, there's a way that you can do that where it's dishonest, and there's a way that you can do it that's honest. So when I tend to ham it up a little bit, I try to stay within the bounds of honesty.
So let's say I'm trying to tell people about how handsome I am. I could go up there and be like, man, I sure am handsome. Or I could go up there and say,
I'm the sexiest man alive.
see, that's a lie, though.
You know, that is a matter of opinion, is it not?
No, that is absolutely fair. And if I think I'm the sexiest man alive, which I don't, ladies, then I guess I could say that.
Well, don't they call that speaking your truth?
Speaking your truth, yes. God, that's deep. You're both deep and controversial. So, has there been a certain thing that happened that in the community that you maybe are known for, that people might know your name, maybe they've seen or heard about you, or are you just a guy?
Yeah, there's a couple things. I think like the first big controversy was probably about a year or two ago. There was going to be this like all ages drag show that was happening, and I was
In Newnan there was?
it was actually at I believe Tavern 74 in Peachtree City.
Okay.
And you know, I have a problem with that. I don't think kids should be present for something like that, because my opinion is that drag is inherently sexual. People may disagree with that, and that's fine. Everyone can have their own opinion. But I said that I think that we should go protest that.
Okay.
And somehow that got turned into, I'm going to go shoot the place up.
Oh.
So there was a post that went around of a picture of me in this same jacket, holding one of my rifles, and they took that picture, my comment about going to protest, and then what I'm guessing was like a fabricated comment that someone made with Photoshop or something that said we should all just go up and spray the whole building, like talking about shooting. So they took me with that picture of my rifle, with my comment about protesting, and then some fabricated comment about blowing the place, you know, shooting the place up, spread that all around, and then that was like the first wave of death threats that I got.
But you did not say anything.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No,
Well, get off that topic quick, just because I don't know if Facebook will be like, you can't even talk about that on here without getting in trouble. So get off that.
I'm very much a nonviolent person. Like I believe in, you know, civil discourse. I believe in everyone talking out their problems, and I think the best solution for any kind of like irritation like that is hug it out. Hug it out, sit down, have respectful conversation, peacefully.
Our legs are close to hugging.
I mean, they're pretty close. You know, about maybe,
Y'all can't see, so this is terrible for the internet.
There's like that much room. Like that much room.
All right, so that happened a couple years ago. Is there anything more recent that?
So shortly after that, there was an issue where Sonoa was a builder was proposing building a HUD housing project in Sonoa.
Okay.
And I spoke again about, hey, you know, we should go protest this. We do not want this in our town. We don't need this in our town. And again, complete backlash over that. That one was way more backlash for some reason, to the point where I actually had somebody like physically come at me in one of our local gas stations. Like they recognized me from somewhere, I guess. Came up to me, you know who I am? And literally like started like aggressing towards me. And I was prepared to stand my ground. Saw that there were kids in the car, and I was just like, dude, let's just walk away from this, man. Like, let's just walk away. Your kids are right there.
So what city, if you're comfortable saying, where do you actually live in Coweta County?
Sonoa.
Okay. Sonoa. Is that how you say it? Sonoa?
I say it Sonoa or Sonoya. I never say Sonoy.
Okay, so he says it two different ways, and they're both wrong.
Hey. Anyone that says Sonoy, I don't take them seriously. So.
I lived there for 14 years, and people ask me how I'm supposed to say it. I don't even remember. I don't remember how we used to say it.
Yeah, I moved there.
I say whatever Ellis Crook says is what we're supposed to say.
Right? Yeah, he's kind of like the end all be all on Sonoa.
Yeah,
or Sonoy. But I moved.
Ellis Crook saying it.
Yeah, I worked for him when I was 17.
Me too.
First guy that taught me how to drive.
Did we work together then? I worked there when I was 15 and 16, and if you're the same age as me,
I was actually.
Maybe we worked together.
I had like real long hair back then.
Yeah, I would have never remembered you.
Yeah. That's no offense taken.
Yeah, good, because
I mean, we're just stocking the shelves unless he was like sending me up to Costco in Morrow, I think, and that was actually like a big wake up call because I did not realize how little $30,000 of cigarettes was. because he'd send me with a check for like 30 grand to buy cigarettes. And I'm sitting here thinking I'm going to be bringing a whole truckload of cigarettes back with me. And then like they load the truck up and it's like 6 boxes of cartons. And I'm like, wow.
Okay, so we know, and I think it's easy, because I've personally been part of controversies and people getting upset. Maybe not death threats, maybe not to that extent. But what is something that you have said or done that was positive in the community? It's very easy. I think people love to complain, and people love to be negative, and people love to talk about what they want to protest, and people love to fight. And people don't like to not do that enough. Is there something that you've done in the community or on Facebook or that was good, and you're like, hey, this is positive and this is cool, guys?
Yeah, for sure.
Tell us about it. I'm going to adjust this camera.
You're good. So I have spoken at several of the Sonoa Town Hall meetings about my concerns with the direction that the town is going. One of their big things is like, we're trying to preserve the small town quiet life of Sonoa. And I feel like the actions of the city leaders have been anything but that. I mean, you look at what Sonoa looks like now to what it looked like, say, just 5-6 years ago. I mean, it's made a dramatic transformation. And as far as I'm aware, most of the people that live there are not happy with that. They're not happy with the overdevelopment. We're not happy with, having issues with our infrastructure, our water having low pressure or being unclean in some instances. Blackouts and brownouts every time the wind, it's a joke that in Sonoa, every time the wind blows, we lose power.
What is a brownout?
It's just when there's basically like too much strain on the grid and your lights start to dim.
Okay, and then a blackout's when they actually...
Yeah, just...
When they go
out.
I've heard brownout, and I never knew what it
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what a brownout is.
No, you heard it here first. That is exactly what it is.
Okay.
We'll go with it.
We'll go with that. But so I did that. I've spoken at a couple of the Coweta County Commissioner meetings. I was, I believe, in my opinion, a pretty pivotal role in the fight against that property tax hike that we had, that they tried to push through. That was something like, I believe, like a 38% property tax increase. They tried to push through. Remember that about a year or two ago? Yeah. I did everything in my power to rally the community, get the word out that they were trying to push it through. And the reason that I was able to get word out early on that is that I do have a handful of insiders that work in the Coweta County government.
What does that mean, a handful of insiders?
I got about like 5 or 6 people that work for Coweta County government that send me information before it becomes public.
Is that allowed?
I don't think so.
Okay. I won't ask you to name names.
I would never in a million
I don't think
years.
you would either. But okay, very interesting that you're just throwing that out there. I don't have anybody like that. Am I friends with some of them? Yeah, I am friends with I was gonna say plenty of them. That's not true. I'm friends with a couple of them, but they don't feed me nothing. They feed me jokes.
Now I'll also say, post that fight with the property taxes, I actually started to develop a bit of a heart condition after that, and the doctor said it was stress related. And dealing with politics is extremely stressful. So after that situation, I've kind of started to take a step back, and I focused on my health last year. Ironic because I broke my back last year, so I'm focusing on my health, and then I get more jacked up.
How'd you break your back?
I fell in the kitchen.
What a grandma.
Yeah, I'm telling you, dude.
Not to make jokes if your grandma fell in the kitchen. R.I.P.
No,
grandma.
seriously, man. Like I'm brittle. Like you being a diabetic as well. There's.
Whoa, well now that's spoiled. I was gonna say that for the big ending where I took off my shirt and I show my insulin pump, and now there's no reason to take my shirt off.
I ruined it.
Keep
for
my
you.
shirt on.
He's got an 8-pack.
I got an 8-pack.
6-packs are not good enough.
Oh, by the way, do you guys like my shirt? I don't really wear this one on the stream. This is my I got that dog in me shirt.
I got that dog.
It's Harold with the dogs.
I'm gonna have to get one of those.
No, you're not. So you broke your back. You have a heart condition.
Yeah.
You're a diabetic.
I'm blind in one eye.
You're blind in one eye, like completely blind.
Yeah. Look,
Yeah.
you can see it.
Why?
Diabetes.
Oh,
I had a.
I'm better at being a diabetic than he is. That's for sure.
Dude, look, my numbers are really good. It's more aggressive in some people.
Excuses.
Yeah,
Those are excuses.
You want my honest opinion? I think it's just because in my teens and early 20s, I was a bit of a party animal, and when you're drinking, you shouldn't be doing that being a diabetic. And I wanted to live a normal life.
I'll even go further. You shouldn't be drinking at all.
Period.
Period. With a T.
Yeah, regardless of if you have health issues or not. I mean, alcohol.
Unless you go to the Reserve in Newnan, which is one of my favorite places. So,
There's one exception.
Don't drink a lot. It's not good for your body and your soul and your family. But also, the Reserve in Newnan is one of my favorite places in the entire world. So, all right. So, have you ever run for office or thought about running for office? Or
I was thinking about it, and that was around the time that my heart started acting up, which I've got addressed clearly because I'm drinking a Monster like an idiot. But I've basically I changed my diet. I started exercising more and working on like not stressing out about things as much. And I haven't had a single instance about 10 months now.
What is the? Can you tell us about the heart condition?
Basically, I was having.
We're painting the picture of who he is because, in general, this is the Herald way of doing things for those people who are new to this. Which maybe we have some new. If you're new, welcome. I love you more than you've ever been loved by anyone. Everyone's got an opinion these days. Everyone wants to talk about the things they think. We don't care about what most people have to say. But if we can get to know the individual in a way that they seem interesting, the more we get to know the individual, the more hopefully what they have to say will matter. So this is the digging in phase where we try to figure out if your opinion is worth anything in the nicest way possible.
So I think that everyone's opinion is worth something. Since 2020, there's been a big change in the way that we handle discourse in this country, to where everyone seems to think that if you are not an expert with a PhD on a subject, that your opinion in it is completely invalid. And I think that's BS. I think that the normal, average, everyday person's opinion is just as valid. Now, when you're talking about stuff like, we dealt with in 2020, I'll, obviously not, say anything because I know the algorithm's going to be weird. But, a lot of...
don't talk about COVID.
Yeah.
If you talk about COVID, Facebook will delete everything.
Right. But basically, I bring it up just to say, like, in that instance, like, a lot of the experts turned out to be wrong about a lot. So I don't understand, the emphasis on expert. Like, yeah, an expert opinion matters, but I think data and personal experience also matter, especially in reference to the data centers. I mean...
And I think that kind of ties into my thought process on opinions is... I get bothered that people aren't okay saying, I don't know. Everyone, not everyone, but I think that kind of rolls into that everybody felt like they had to have the answers of what the answer to COVID was. Or you look at anything, everybody wants to have an opinion that is solid already. Like, hey, I know what my opinion is on something. People are not comfortable saying, I don't know yet. Just give me some time. Let me learn about it. Just leave me alone. I don't know. Like, that's not something you hear often enough. So what I like it is when somebody says, I don't really want to talk about that. I have no idea about that topic. Whatever. We're going to talk about ice. I don't know enough about ice.
Right.
So, yeah, cool. Whatever. Y'all talk about it. I'm dumb.
Well,
Let me out of here. Because I am dumb, my friends. In a beautiful way.
Well, look at how language has changed, right? Like, used to, in conversation about, topics like this, we used to say, I think X. I think that. Now we say, I believe. I believe. So our opinion...
I believe in a thing called X.
Yeah, and I think it's more of it more depends upon, what tribe you're a part of on what opinions or facts that you tend to believe. Like if you're, like you just brought up ICE, if you're politically sided on the left, you think ICE is the new Gestapo and it's, a bunch of, German holdovers, let's say, that are going up and rounding people and, putting them in camps. If you're politically right, then you just see them as law enforcement and they're doing their job.
Maybe. A lot of people on the right see them as I think in your example, you're taking the most extreme thing for the left and you're doing an excuse for the right. But that's okay. Totally fine. Doesn't matter.
I'm biased.
Exactly, because of the tribe that you're in.
Exactly.
You connected. And I'm glad you said you were biased. That works for me.
We're all biased about everything.
I'm biased about professional wrestling.
Nothing wrong with that. I grew up on wrestling.
Good. All right. I feel like we know maybe... let's ask about your love life. Do you want to talk about your love life? Have you ever been married?
No.
You got kids?
Never married, no kids.
You ever been engaged?
Yeah, I've been engaged twice.
Twice, same person?
So no, I have like a very simple rule. It's basically date for a year, live together for a year, engaged for a year. We can make it through that, then we're getting married.
Okay.
Usually after the engagement, I got cheated on both times.
Oh, usually. So yes, every time.
Yeah, every time. So yeah, I pretty much I've given up. And
so maybe the 111 doesn't work.
No, I don't think it does. But I like it. I'm sticking to it. I'm gonna die alone. It'll be all right.
It doesn't seem like it's worked very well for you. You're not gonna die alone. You'll be blind with one eye with a broken back and a heart condition, but you will find love.
Dude, by that time I'll be blind in both eyes. Literally, my hope and dream is that we're gonna have cybernetic bodies, so I can just pop my head on one of those. They can plug in new eyeballs and good to go.
So we have been talking for, how long have we been talking? God, about 20 minutes, and we haven't even brought up data centers and Newnan. So with this podcast, just because my reach is, you were asking me earlier how many people reach a month. Typically it's between 4.5 to 6 million. That's in a 28-day span. And they go from the majority, I think it's like 44% of my viewers are middle-aged women, and then older white men, typically the people that are active on Facebook, which
Boomers.
are older white men and middle-aged women, and then people like me. Not a lot of young people. Check it out. So that's not something. But we are going to take this from the approach of talk to me as if I am somebody that the only thing I know about data centers is what the Newnan Times Herald and Facebook comments feed me. I have not done any individual research. I don't know. I'm like I said earlier, I want to take it as, hey, I don't know how to feel. So if you're trying to convince somebody to feel a way that is best for the community, how are you going to try to make them feel? Is how we're sort of going to
Try to make them feel good about it?
No, not feel good about it. What side do you want someone to land on?
Well, the fact of the matter is the AI revolution is here.
Oh.
And
I have never used AI in my life.
now see, it's funny because I'm pro AI. I just think that we're going about this situation way wrong. Way wrong. President Trump went through and said that he wants America to lead this AI revolution.
Lead or leave?
Lead. Like, he wants us to be the number one. He wants us to come out of this fight on top. So he has incentivized a lot of these AI companies to develop and make, the United States their home base. Unfortunately for us here in Georgia, we have become the hotspot in the country for data centers. And the reason being is because of the energy rates that Georgia Power gives to industrial coded companies. They give them, I think it's like a 48% discount on their energy cost out of pocket.
Okay.
And we pick up the rest of that slack. They say that, oh, it's not going to affect your bill. It's not going to affect your bill. I think everyone will agree that it has already affected our bills. Because just because we don't have a bunch of data centers operating in Coweta County as it sits now, they're still operating all across the state, and they're draining from Georgia Power's grid. Just basic economics. When there's a greater demand, that lessens supply. And when supply starts to run short, costs go up. Like my bill, for instance, last month, it was, I used less energy than I used the previous year, and my bill was $80 more.
Okay.
What's going on with that? You look at your bill and you see environmental impact fee, you see nuclear reimbursement fee. It's not, they can sit there and they can say like, rates have only went up by 6%, but they're not talking about the $40 add-on and then the $50 add-on that goes on top of the bill. They don't factor that into the equation at all. But you're talking about a $50 charge and a $40 charge, that's $90. Used to, only a couple short years ago, it would be no problem to get my power bill through Georgia Power down to $100.
To paint the picture just a little bit for me, as much information you're willing to give, what is your living situation? Do you have a home?
Yeah, I'm in a house. It's a 4-bed, 2-bath ranch.
Nice property?
I have like 2 acres.
2 acres?
Yeah.
Okay.
In a neighborhood, it's nothing special.
Because you know where I live now. Don't tell them where I live.
Yeah, he lives at.
Too many people know at this point. And this, I don't look at the power bill. My girlfriend does because she is the breadwinner because she got that dough. If you know what I mean.
Okay, you doing it
She
right.
got that dough. She got, and I mean dough like as in the butt versus the money.
Okay.
No, sorry, we're getting off topic.
Hey, I ain't mad at you, brother.
That somehow makes it worse. So I can't think of the last time I looked at a power bill, which makes me look like a child. But that, hey, that's okay. Some people are made to have one eye to look at power bills, and other people are made to look at comic books.
I think they call that white privilege, don't they?
They call it good diabetes privilege, where
Yeah,
I still have both my eyes. My feet don't work though. My feet don't. I can't even tie shoelaces. Look at that. If I tie shoelaces, it hurts too bad. So.
Look into Solomon's or Merrill's.
No.
Okay, don't.
All right. So you look at your power bill. When I laugh, my mustache. It gets wet. So continue where you were about power bills, and you're noticing the changes.
Right. So you look at what they're doing, right? The Georgia utilities are overlooked by the Georgia Public Service Commission, I believe. It is a commission of elected officials that oversee the profit margins and everything for the utilities that are distributed around the state. That board has been basically Republican controlled. I'm Republican, but
shocking.
Yeah, right. But it's been Republican controlled pretty much for like the last decade, and we have seen nothing but the situation with our infrastructure continuously getting worse. We've had some improvements in the last year, but those improvements are not going to mean anything if they continue this overdevelopment that we're facing. Data centers aside, like you even take the data center out of the equation and we're still like pushing it. Like we still have, issues with weather, like we got so lucky with this ice storm that it mostly missed over us. But if it would have been a direct hit, I mean, like most of Coweta County probably would have lost power. I remember, the previous ice storms that we've had, and it's been a constant issue out here. And, some people will say like, oh, you're all out in the sticks. You're so far out in the sticks. We're really not. Like, look at Newnan now. I mean, Newnan is borderline a metro at this point.
Not a lot of sticks left.
That's what I'm saying, and that's why I took such issue, with Sonoa City Council a couple years ago saying they were trying to preserve the, historic image of Sonoa, and I felt like that was just disrespectful. I mean, like you couldn't say anything more opposite, in my opinion, of course, but you look at that issue with just the power, where they're giving these multi-billion-dollar corporations and conglomerates a 48% discount on their power usage, but the rates are still going to go up. So while we're not like seeing a charge on our power bill that's like, oh, this is going to pay for the data centers, we're going to see that rate continue to increase because supply is being lowered. These data centers are basically huge square boxes that are full of nothing but GPUs and CPUs. GPU meaning like graphics processor unit, like what you would use to play video games on your computer with. They're running full steam ahead all day, 24 hours a day. That takes not only a lot of electricity, but it takes a lot of cooling. And they use water for cooling. Now, in reference to the data center that they're trying to build over in Palmetto, they're talking about tapping into the local aquifers instead of draining off the rivers, right?
Okay.
So a lot of the people in these areas, they have wells. They are relying on those same aquifers for their drinking water, for their cooking water, for their bathing water. You look at how this has went in all the other similar areas in the state. You've got issues where people turn their faucet on and like for the first minute, it's nothing but sediment that comes out of their faucet. They've got, like 5 PSI of water pressure. I mean, just what was it like? I think 8 months ago, maybe there was a house fire in Sonoa on Gordon Road, I believe. And the fire department could not put the fire out because the hydrant didn't have enough pressure. So we're talking about putting a huge strain on infrastructure that's already strained. I mean, we've got to reel this development in at some point. And I think the data center, I mean, once that goes up, I think that's it, man. I think it's toast.
So you just said, just because the way you just said this, you said once it goes up, you think it's going to happen?
I think that they had their minds made up a long time ago.
Okay.
And I don't know if there's much that we can do to influence that. My personal opinion is that I think that they don't really care that much about what we think. They're going to do it. They see that they can explain it away with like, oh, it's going to bring so many jobs to the area. It's going to bring so much tax revenue to the area. The jobs that are going to be brought to this area are going to be temporary jobs for construction only. Most of the workers that work at these data centers, you got like, per say like 5,000 square foot, you might have like 2 to 3 workers. Everyone else is doing it remotely. Once that construction's gone, the jobs are gone. And then we're just left with a big eyesore and a drain on our grid. Yeah, that tax revenue is going to be coming in. But do you think that with all that new tax revenue coming in, that our local government's just going to say, all right, well, we're going to cut your tax rate. We're going to lower your property taxes now that we've got all this coming in? No, they made that abundantly clear, like after that tax fight. I mean, we defeated the 38% property tax increase, but what did they turn around and do? Introduce more taxes. They came at us from the school board. They're adding the floss, that they're adding the extra percentage onto our sales tax. I mean, they're going to get their tax money one way or the other, whether we like it or not.
So if you think the mind's already made up and it's probably just going to happen, what is the driving force? Because how many different groups do we have now that are fighting this?
Oh God.
There's several that I know of just off Facebook. What is keeping that? I'm assuming you're part of that group.
No.
I know I'm part of one of the Facebook groups, the Stop Project Sale or something.
Yeah. So I'm not part of any of those groups. I'm just a dude.
He's an outlaw.
I'm an outlaw. I'm not a part of any of those groups, but I'm aware of.
Data centers. Keep going.
I'm aware of the Stop Project Sale group. I think that they've been doing excellent work getting the information out to people. They go and they have meetings all the time and they're petitioning the government. I think that they really have a good position in this fight, and I think that they're doing everything that they can.
So do you think, is there something they can do that they're not doing, or it's just big guy versus little guy kind
they're
of
doing everything
scenario?
they're doing everything they can. And there was the temporary moratorium that was put on it, on the construction, I believe about a month ago, to try to like get some regulations figured out, to try to appease the locals. But I think that construction is going to go whether we like it or not.
Okay.
They may say like, oh, we're regulating this, we're regulating that, we're going to make sure that they're not taking from the local rivers and such, but like, that's polishing a turd. You know what I mean? It's like, it's still a turd, but now it's nice and shiny.
Gross.
Just being honest. That's right there. You're really just talking about the utility infrastructure side of it. We're not even talking about like the environmental impact.
So are there people that, I'm sure there are, have you talked to people that aren't politically connected to it that are very, very pro data center? Like what is their
I've spoken to a couple of experts on the subject, and they say like, oh, it's a closed loop system, it's not going to affect the water supply, the public's not going to be footing the bill for the electricity and yada yada yada. And honestly, I think that these people are people that are involved in the industry, that they have a profit incentive into being pro data center. And I think they'll say, whatever they can to sway the public because they just want to buy their 4th house.
So you don't think there's any argument to be made for just like the regular everyday guy like you? Like, can you see the other side at all?
Yes, of course I can, because like I said earlier, we want to be number one in this new AI revolution. And it is indeed important that this nation becomes number one, because if we are not number one in the AI revolution, who's that leave? China. They're going to take over the market.
Let's see, Brazil.
I mean, I don't.
Can you imagine how cool it would be if Brazil was leading us? And I don't have a joke for that. That's a setup without a punchline.
Right, but
it's the only country I could think of.
Right, but like I said, it's important that we do win that race. But I think that there's a smart way to play this, and then I think there's like a Wild West way of doing it. I think that we're doing Wild West way of doing it right now.
Okay.
Anywhere that we see gold, we're putting the hammer down. And like I said, Georgia being a hot spot for these due to, the regulations around Georgia Power, is making Georgia the hot spot for it. So, of course, that's the AI gold rush. That's why they're all coming here. I mean, you look at the data center they built over in Fayette. That data center was basically approved before there was even a single public meeting about that. And construction's, I'm pretty sure is still going there. I haven't checked in on it in the last several months, but pretty sure construction's still going up there. And they just tried to push through another one, I believe it was a week or two ago, and that got shut down. And I think it's because these data centers were unaware that there's like a very prominent activist that lives in Coweta County that's anti-data center. So it's like you're literally like going to the belly of the beast for, anti-data center activists and trying to pop these things up all over the place. I think that if we are going to be putting these data centers up, we do not need to be putting them in areas that are, even moderately populated. They talk about having the closed loop system for their water and their cooling. They need to be generating their own power as well and not drawing from our grid. It should not be on us to foot the bill for their energy cost. We're already being taxed to death. By letting them draw from our grid to increase our general power increase, it's a hidden tax basically. Like you can't call it a tax because it's not really a tax, but at the end of the day, it's another tax being incentivized by, government kickbacks, tax incentives, and discounts. And I think that there is a good reason why Georgia Power is one of the most profitable power countries in this nation, or power companies in this nation.
I didn't know that was the case.
So the average profit margin for a power company in the United States is around 6 to 7%.
Okay.
Georgia Power's profit margin is 12%.
Okay. You just know that off the top of your head?
Well, I mean, yeah, I've done enough research on it.
This guy knows things. Do I know what he said is right? No.
No, go ahead. Fact check me.
Yeah, if you guys are watching along and you want to fact check anything that he says, or insult him, or compliment how beautiful he is, you remember you can do that in the comments. We're going to get to your guys' questions in just a moment. We've got some questions that were sent in on Facebook, and of course you can use the chat. And I think there's a way to join live on the video. So if you can figure that out, you can send a video request. We can get you on here, and you can ask questions. But that's the meat of the matter, is connecting you people who think you know things with this guy who thinks he knows things, and me who doesn't know anything at all about anything.
And I'm not an expert by no means. I've done a little bit of research on this stuff, but I do not have a degree in this stuff. Like I said, experts' opinions matter, but I think the normal person's, opinion matters. And I considered doing a ton of research before coming on this. And I decided not to. Some people may see that as foolish, but I want to be genuine. I don't want to sit here and be like, well, I read blah, 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 blah. Like I told you before we started, I did a brief little bit of research for an hour yesterday, just making sure that the memories about all this that I had in my head were correct. I was just verifying the information that I knew was still correct, and I didn't get it crisscrossed somewhere.
And it's important to remember that Mayor Keith Brady himself, when I had him on here to play Candyland, he didn't even know how to play Candyland when he came to do the feed. So if the mayor can't bother to learn how to play Candyland before coming on here, you don't have to bother learning all about data centers.
I have notes. I haven't even had to look at them yet.
All right, here's some of the questions we got on Facebook that people wanted to hear your thoughts on. This comes from Danbury. Do you know Danbury, Jason?
No.
Good guy. Will you be talking about how the additional power lines were laid and how Georgia Power was making provisions before the data center was announced or approved? Do you know anything about that?
Well, like I said, they had their mind made up before any of this.
I think that kind of falls into what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, you start pulling the records and you'll see that this stuff isn't just oh, we're doing a data center. They plan this stuff out way in advance. And just like I said in Fayetteville, they had that whole thing approved. The land was already bought by Blackstone before they even held the first meeting about it. So the public's input basically didn't matter on that data center. But I think the people of Fayette understood what happened, and that's why this last proposal did not pass, because people were looking for that. They were looking for the shady tactics.
That's a good point.
And, Georgia Power is sitting there basically taking eminent domain on people's property, and they're going to be running these power lines through people's property whether they like it or not, it's like, look, you can either like take the check for us putting the power lines, or we're going to claim eminent domain and force you out of your house. I don't think that's right. I don't think anyone, regardless of what side you are politically, would be okay with that. No different than when the government says, hey, we decided to put a highway right through your neighborhood so everyone's got to move out.
Yeah, from what I've seen on this issue specifically, which is why I've kind of been going and learning more about this issue, is that this one is not really a take political sides issue. This is a lot of people are just not happy about it, and the people that are the experts say, you guys just don't get it. You just don't know enough. Yeah. So it's not really a.
I don't know why they think that their condescending attitude is going to convince anybody.
Because that's what has worked for most of their lives. This is an interesting question. I don't know if you'll know the answer. This is from it's Sarah, I think, Cera. Sarah, is that how you'd say that?
Yeah, that's how you'd say it.
What are the names of the chemicals they put in the water? Is there any chance you know the names of the chemicals they put in the water?
Not off the top of my head, but I know that what they add into the water makes it deionized water. So that it is,
well, then it's a deionization salt.
Right. So it makes it to where the water is non-conductive, because they would not be able. They basically, so they take these big towers that are full of the processing units, and they're basically submerged in water. And as that water heats up, it's pumped out, cool, in a closed loop system like what they're talking about in Palmetto. The water, as it warms up, it gets pumped out, put through a cooler, and then gets put back in. At a certain point, that fluid needs to be changed. Where they're going to be dumping that water and how they're going to be cleaning that water, no idea.
This I think you've already answered from Liza. What do you wish people would understand or know about data centers? So I guess let's try to take it into a more broad sense, and you've kind of already touched on it. It's not even specific to the Georgia Power ones or the ones in Georgia. Is there stuff about just data centers in general that people don't even seem to get?
Well,
I think a lot of people, they just hear it and they go, oh, okay, it's a center that stores data.
Well, how many people do you run in every day that don't have a screen in front of their face?
Babies.
If that.
And
I mean, look at the last
babies.
generation. I mean, we've got children that were raised on iPads. The parents just hand them an iPad with YouTube Kids, and then they just go about their business.
In fairness, I handed my child an iPad with Barney episodes installed on it.
Hey, I support that.
And not YouTube Kids. And she turned out perfect.
There you go. See, and that's the smart way about it. You do not want to give kids access to the internet. Internet's a dark place. I remember when I got internet access back in 1999. Dating myself.
Back in 1999.
Back in 1999, when Napster first came out, and I'm
Napster,
downloading. It's like I'm downloading the new Metallica album, and it takes 38 hours to download on a dial-up connection. But by the time I was 12, I had seen some absolutely horrendous stuff by having unrestricted internet access.
Same.
You can't even talk about it on here, but you know what I'm getting.
Same. At. It's the stuff that, and yeah, it's sad.
Yeah.
The stuff that has stuck with me the most that I have seen on the internet is not stuff that I have seen as an adult. It's stuff that I saw as a kid.
Absolutely.
As a little homeschool kid, when you first get the internet,
God, I couldn't even imagine.
And you don't know what anything is in the world, and you've been given the internet, and your parents are like, they don't. When the internet really came out, not even the parents knew what to expect on there.
No, and those same parents are boomers, and they still don't know half of it. You know what I mean?
But the things I saw, nothing that would put me in jail at this point, but things that would I can picture them sometimes when I close my eyes, and it's that's so sad. But it's not, I don't blame my parents for it.
There's definitely one video for me that I remember seeing when I was about 11 or 12. And it was some Russian video, and that was the first time I had ever seen the light leave somebody's eyes.
Well, that's terrible.
Yeah.
But you didn't answer my question or get even close to
Sorry.
it.
We got off on a tangent.
It's a good tangent of parents, be careful. I'm not one of those don't let your kids have iPads people. Those are nerds. But I am one of those, it's the internet's a lot worse than even you think it is, probably.
Right. But what I was getting at with bringing up the no one with a screen in front of their face is that we are all relying on the internet now. We are becoming more and more reliant on the internet. And as AI has become part of most people's daily life, you got where we used to just go to Google and search for something, right? Now people go to ChatGPT to ask the question instead of asking Google.
Well, and even then, because my daughter's very, very against AI.
Right.
She's 12. Harold Jr. hates AI and thinks everything about it is terrible. And there's definitely some parts about it that aren't great, and there's some parts about it that are revolutionary. But even if you go on Google now, the first thing you get on Google is not Google. It's an AI overview. So you can't really, like, Google doesn't get you away from it.
No, that's why
it's everything.
That's why I use Brave.
That's not a real thing.
It is. Brave, not sponsored. Brave.
We're not sponsored by Brave.
This is not a paid advertisement. But Brave is an internet browser that has ad block in by default. So all those sponsored ads and the pop-up ads and all that stuff, they're gone by default. And it is disconnected from Google. So when you go and you start searching something on the Brave browser, it doesn't automatically take you to Google, and it doesn't automatically take you to some AI overview. So I tend to prefer that. But I still use Google. I still use the Chrome browser, especially when I'm dealing, if say I'm having a debate with somebody on the opposite end of the political spectrum, right? I'm going to go to their source, and I'm going to read their source where they're getting their information from, and then I'm going to try to pick that apart and be like, yo, look, it's saying this, but you got to look at what this actually means, because they're trying to change the language around this. And then you pull up the data and the statistics, and then 90% of the time the people just don't even
He's this
hear
close
it.
to answering my question. From
Okay. So sorry. All right. So what people need to understand about data centers is we're stuck with them.
We're stuck with them.
We're not going to be able to say no data centers ever, but we need to do it in a way that makes sense. Like I said, the closed loop cooling systems, those are a good start, but until these data centers start doing their own power generation, it's all going to be for naught, because their main sucker is power. It's electricity. So until they can become independent and operate on their own electrical grid, we're going to be seeing the problems from it.
Okay.
And the good things from it are the more data centers that we get, the faster our technology gets, the faster that we can make technological advancements, and the better our odds are at coming out of this AI war in the number one position. But like I said, putting them in like Palmetto, like right next to people's houses, and Fayette County right next to neighborhoods, that's awful. Like I don't think that should be a thing. You want to put a data center up somewhere, put it somewhere where there's not a lot of people.
So you're not even against the idea of a data center in Coweta County. You're against the way that this one has gone about.
I am against the way that it's being implemented, both in location and the impact on the utilities, infrastructure, and the wildlife impact. Because we have regulations for noise ordinances, right? In industrial facilities, they have ordinances that say your facility can't generate more than this X amount of decibels, right? Those regulations do not take into account places that run 24/7. These data centers run 24/7. And they generate two different sounds, one in the wintertime, one in the summertime. But it's constantly a low droning hum. That low droning hum...
It's different?
It's different because...
That's interesting.
And see, here's the other thing that's so weird about it being built in Georgia. Georgia's hot as hell, especially in the summertime. You would think that heat being the biggest factor in the efficiency of these data centers, they'd put them somewhere a little colder.
Okay.
So in the summertime they make, from what I've heard and what I've seen from places that already have these data centers, like Augusta, Georgia, for instance. In the summertime it's a steady hum. In the wintertime it's more of a pulsating hum. Because in the summertime the cooling systems have to run at max power constantly. In the winter times they can turn it down a little bit. But it never stops. And that completely disrupts birdsong. So all the bird calls that are out there where birds are, talking to each other, they're trying to find mates, they're trying to find their children, their little baby birds, all that stuff gets silenced out. And it's like, okay, so we lose a couple of birds, what's the big deal? That's a big deal. You lose the bird population, the insect population gets bigger. You lose bird population, the birds of prey population will go down because now they've got less game to hunt. you lose your predator birds like hawks and eagles, then you end up with a varmint issue. You end up with more rats and mice and things like that.
Boy, this is unraveling. We're doomed. This is interesting.
I know. I'm just saying, like, the environmental impact just isn't about like the drain on the power. It's not just about like tapping into the aquifers. It's a big picture. And I think that...
Are there examples, though, that people can pull from and be like, hey, remember when they put this data center over here in Georgia and now there's a varmint issue? Or is it like, hey, this is what we're assuming happened?
Well, look at there's a YouTube channel, I believe it's called A More Perfect Union. They've done a lot of good documentaries about these data centers. They have a really good one about the one in Augusta, which is a Facebook/Meta data center.
Okay.
But you can find some more information about the local environmental impact on what has happened to those people there, and it really is a sad story when you see like what the people have gone through.
Karen asks, don't you think AI is going to outperform people such as doctors and cashiers?
So funny that you mentioned that. My last doctor appointment, I had to sign a waiver that was agreeing to AI being used in my treatment.
Are you comfortable saying what
doctor
practice?
I'm not going to say the doctor, but I can show you the picture.
I said doctor practice, not doctor.
No,
like Piedmont versus...
No, it's not a Piedmont doctor, I can tell you that much.
Okay.
But I'm not going to disclose like what doctors I go to. Like I said, I have the picture of the form that I had to sign on the iPad, of course, because... filling out paperwork is just so 19th century. But I mean, yeah, I think that they're going to be using AI, to treat people. And I think that is absolutely terrifying. Terrifying. Because you remove the human from that interaction. And what you have is something that is treating you that is incapable of empathy.
What do you really think that is... Like, can you really see a future where we don't have doctors and AI is doing what doctors do? Or is that sort of worst case scenario? Like, is that a little bit fear mongering? Or do you personally actually think that people will go to the doctor's office and they'll sit in front of a computer and the computer will tell them?
I think it sounds crazy, but I think in another 5 years it won't sound crazy at all.
5 years, you would say? Okay.
Yeah. I'd give it 5 years before you start seeing, like, when you go to sign in at the doctor's office, there's not even going to be a person at the front desk anymore. It's going to be a robot or just some AI kiosk that says, hello, how are you today? Please touch to sign in. And you won't even have to sign in your name anymore. They're just going to scan your eye or make you do a fingerprint, and it's like, you are now checked in. Like I said, I give it 5 years. Maybe I'm out of line with that. I don't know.
And when you look at things like cashiers, obviously, I think we're 6 months, and
I think that's bad too.
Doctors, I have a hard time thinking that from the legal standpoint of medical practices, doctors can. But again, if you asked me 5 years ago, do I think AI is going to be a thing? I would be like, huh, what? What is that?
I think
the movie.
I think that even replacing cashiers and customer service employees is an awful thing for AI to be doing, because there's a lot of situations that AI, again, like I said, they do not understand emotion. They don't understand empathy. If you're talking about a situation where it's like self-checkout, right? Like someone's just going in, buying a product, swiping their product, swiping their card, and getting on down the line, that's fine. What happens when you have a problem? What happens when you bought a product that doesn't work? What happens when you have something defective? Just like 3 weeks ago, I had an issue where I bought a game online, right?
Which game?
Diablo 2 Resurrected. Okay. I got it to play with a buddy of mine.
Which buddy?
No.
He's learning. He's learning just to tell me no.
But so we didn't realize that if I played on PC, I could not play with him on Xbox.
Doesn't have crossplay, okay.
Yeah, no crossplay. So I only had that game loaded up for maybe 30 minutes, right? Trying to figure out how to add him to my server, whatever. Couldn't do it. So then I shut it down, I applied for a refund, and then I paid for another copy of the game on Xbox, downloaded it on Xbox, and then I began to play with him. A couple days later, I get an AI response saying, our records indicate that you played for over 2 hours, therefore you're not...
you can't.
Yeah, you can't get a refund on it. And it's like, no, like I played for 30 minutes on PC, but my account, like my profile or whatever, crosses over to the Xbox. So what they're seeing in the AI system, and it's just AI. Like I was sitting there like, are you even a human? And it's like, we're so sorry, we couldn't help you. I was like, okay, this is AI. But what they're seeing, and any human would be able to look at this situation and be like, oh, it's showing that he played for over 2 hours because he went and played on his Xbox, but I can see here that he only played on PC for 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. The AI is incapable of understanding that. So like, okay, it's just $40, right? But like, I had to go through absolute hell in circles with this AI chatbot trying to get it to understand that, and then it couldn't. You call the phone number, you can't even get a human on the line when you call the phone number, it's AI. So then I call physical product support where like if you bought a plushie or something and it came in damaged, and he was unable to help me, and I said, so you're telling me my only option is being stuck in this infinite loop with an AI chatbot? And he's like, yes sir, unfortunately that's true. So then I hit call record on my phone where it's like, this call is currently being recorded, and I said, can you say that again one more time for me? Click. Hung up on me immediately. So I had to file a dispute.
How do you do call record on your phone? You can show me later.
Yeah.
Because that sounds cool.
It's literally like when you make, I don't know if you probably have an iPhone.
Yes.
Yeah, anti-Apple. Whatever.
I see you up there, iPhone.
Judge me. Judge me. Baby. I don't care.
With all the things we've learned about you thus far, I don't think that's going to be the thing. People are like, man, that John guy, he didn't like iPhones.
If he doesn't have an iPhone, I don't take him seriously. But yeah, I mean, I had to file a dispute with the bank just to try to get a simple refund. Because,
did you get it?
No, I'm still waiting on it.
Blizzard.
It's going to probably take 2 months to get that $40 back. And I haven't touched the game since, not because I don't like the game, but out of principle. It's like, look, you're going to try to screw me over. I'm not going to support you. Even though I've already given you the money. Like, there's nothing I can do to get that money back. But I'm not going to play that game until I get that first purchase back.
How much is the game?
$40.
40? Okay.
I mean, you know.
Remaster it. Yeah.
I mean, what's $40 now? I mean, that's like, $10 10 years ago.
That's a full tank of gas for me. I'll take $40.
Well, yeah, and you're, don't dox the vehicle.
Yeah. No, I posted pictures of the vehicle.
Oh.
It's a black Kia with a license plate that says Newnan Time with Harold.
Yeah.
So you can dox the vehicle.
I'm not gonna.
So I don't know what the license plate number is, but all right, we've been talking thus far for an hour.
Dang, time flies.
We have flown through some stuff, so we'll wrap it up because what I assume is going to happen here with this one, we've gotten a ton of comments and stuff. Maybe the most comments I've gotten during I don't know. I have to look.
I told you, it's controversial.
Yeah, I would hope that we can do a second one. It'd be even better if we could get someone in here that doesn't agree with you.
Yeah, great.
So if you are listening, or even if you do agree with them, and you want to come here to my house and sit with us and talk about these kinds of things, I think now's the time to do it because I think he did a pretty good job. I think he did a great job of talking, of sounding smart. And giving information and coming across mostly likable. And I'm interested to know the other sides of it as well, because when that vote comes up, where I get to vote and decide if we're getting that data center or not, I need to make sure I have all the information I need so I can make the final decision. Oh, did you know that that's how it's going to be decided?
No.
Yeah, that's how it's going to be decided. Harold gets to decide.
Hey, it's your show, man.
It's my show. Before we let you out, is there anything you want to promote? Anything about you at all that people can send to? Anything? Do you have an Amazon wish list you want people to buy stuff off? Is there anything about you that you want them to just know about and just plug your stuff away?
I mean, no, not really. I try to keep my my business life and personal life completely separate just because the political climate in this country. And when you're, someone like me who's so outspoken, that can affect your business. So
that makes sense.
I tend to keep that like completely separate. Some people know I've got like a very small business. I don't work a whole lot just due to me being in poor health all the time, So like I might do a couple jobs a month, if that. And that's really just to get by.
Have you thought about wearing fake facial hair so you can act one way on camera and then have a whole nother personal life?
Well, if you notice,
I'm not saying it's a good idea, but I'm just asking if you've ever thought about it.
If you notice that one of the pictures I sent you of me for the promo, I like aged myself by like 20 years.
Yeah, you do not look like the picture.
No, not at all. I tend to hide from cameras, but I've decided I just don't want to hide anymore.
Jason says he's going to show me how to phone record, call record, so that'd be cool. So look, I can do it on my iPhone.
Yeah,
boom, baby.
It's super easy.
I just thought that would be, I guess it's not illegal if they know you're doing it, right?
Yeah, it's,
it says, this is being recorded.
Exactly. Same thing like when you call, a doctor's office, this call may be recorded for quality assurance. You know, when you do it on your personal phone, it just says this call is now being recorded.
See, I think if I got a phone call with somebody and that was the first thing it said, I'd probably hang up too. I'd probably be like, nah.
Well, in reference to that, like, Blizzard situation, you know, like... when
Blizzard is the company of
the
Diablo,
company.
for the non-nerds out there.
You know, like, when they answer the phone, it says, this call is being recorded. So, like, they're already recording the call.
Yeah,
so
you get it all the time in businesses. I just didn't think about it doing it for personal people.
Sometimes it's a good idea.
Yeah, that is... I mean, I've recorded people without them knowing before in the past because I was worried that the situation would come back and bite me. So that's illegal.
A little bit.
But they're all deleted now. That was a long time ago.
There's no evidence left.
No evidence left. Don't go through my stuff. I am, of course, Newnan Time with Harold. You can find me at all the places we talked about at the beginning of this. And if you were here and you're watching this and you're thinking, wow, what an ugly background. They really need a backdrop. I agree. And if you go to our Amazon wish list, which I will post later on, you can buy a backdrop. So when we do these videos, it'll look a lot more professional. We had somebody buy us a webcam and a phone stand and some microphones that I totally forgot about until just now that we could have been wearing. So if you want to send us some stuff that I can put right back in the community and do stuff like just talking to a guy that I just met on the internet on video that'll now live forever on our YouTube and on our Facebook. Make sure you donate that way. What else do I have going on?
I do want to give one more shout out again.
Shout out, baby.
If you are trying to find more information about what's going on with the data centers right here in Coweta County, the group that's been doing the most out there is Stop Project Sale. If you're interested in being, more involved in the issues that we have going on here, reach out to that group, join the group. They hold regular meetings, and they're really the strongest fighter we have in this.
And that's on Facebook. Stop Project Sale.
Yep, Stop Project Sale.
And thank you for, like I said, I'm not wearing my glasses today, so I see that we've had a couple of people that have just stayed engaged the whole time. I can't read my vision is so bad.
Hey, I'm over half blind.
And he's half blind.
Yeah, I mean,
so
there's definitely words there.
There are definitely words there. Neither of us are the best options for reading them. Tomorrow at 7 o'clock, I will be on the Newnan Reddit. They have asked me to run an Ask Me Anything. The last time they did that, it was with Mayor James Shepherd himself. So I will be on there from 7 to 9 p.m. answering all kinds of personal questions about Harold or fun stories. Whatever you want to ask me on Reddit tomorrow, I will be there. Friday at 2:30, we're interviewing Super Geek Trivia at Lime Creek. We're going to be hanging out at Lime Creek, the Reserve. Which, second shout out, we've been talking a lot about them. And we're going to interview them a little bit. That is Abe. Everybody loves Abe. I always say that if you're not going to book me to host your trivia, book Abe. Because he's the best at trivia. If you can't book him, then let me run your events. But he is the king, and he's just one of the nicest guys in the world. We're going to get to know him. And then Saturday night, we are going to the song release for Lorelei that Cyrene has been producing. They've been on my podcast 4 or 5 times. Sorry. I think that's the first cuss word. We almost made it the whole time without cussing.
You don't have any idea how hard it was.
Dang it! I was this
censored.
close.
I was raised by sailors.
Oh, you did good.
Yeah.
I didn't. Made it that close without cussing. That's the best I've done. I think that's everything. Make sure you follow us. If you're new to Newnan Time with Harold, this is the kind of stuff we do. We have a good time. We laugh a lot. Would love to have you on for anything. If you have a business and you want to promote your business, that's great too. Otherwise, I love you guys. And thanks, Karen, for saying we did a good job. And thanks, Sydney, for saying attention to I don't have my glasses. That's too many words. And protect the frogs, right?
Protect the frogs.
Protect the frogs.
The frogs are gay, and it's not good.
It's not good for frogs to be gay.
No.
Now I gotta reach all the way over here. Bye, everybody.